But Terry, I wanted to start out with the Detroit Pistons.
Yes,
having you here. Obviously, yesterday after we went off the show, 3 p.m. NBA deadline, Troy Weaver did make a deal sending Saddiq Bey to Golden State, where he eventually was traded to Atlanta. Is that right?
Yep.
To Atlanta he ended up. But we got James Wiseman.
That trade's getting ripped, too, in this town.
So it's got James Wiseman, who, as some of us non-basketball guys go, wait, why do I know that name? Oh, yeah, second overall pick 3 years ago. Sam?
Yes. It was in the,
3 years ago. And one of the things that I am hearing and looking into this is that, Troy Weaver always liked this guy. He always liked this guy going back to the draft, whether that's relevant or not. I just flat out ask you, Terry, was this a good trade for the Pistons? Is this something that, the bottom line is, what light do you put Troy Weaver in now?
I'm putting the light there. I think this is a very good trade. I understand why people don't like it, because you haven't seen enough of James Wiseman. And the bits and pieces I've seen shows me this guy's very athletic. He's very skilled. Now he needs to be in a system that wants him. Golden State didn't need James Wiseman. And a lot of times I see athletes, usually it's the reverse. You're with a team that fits you well, and then you go somewhere else and the team doesn't fit you and you kind of disappear. Now we're seeing the thing in reverse. I think this is what's going to happen. James Wiseman, not a fit at Golden State. Wiseman, a fit here. And I think eventually he's going to be able to show his athleticism, his basketball skills, and then once he stays healthy, he's going to provide a little rim protection, not great shot blocking, but better what they got now. And I think the Pistons are a team that eventually will attack the block. Golden State doesn't.
So you like this trade for the Pistons? And
I like it for the Pistons.
This comes down for giving the young man.
Although I understand why people don't like it, because what you've seen of him is very unimpressive. But I see a guy that has potential. I see a guy that has skills, and he's 7 foot, and I think eventually we will see that.
Well, he went second overall, Sam. Did he not? So does that not tell you something to begin with, to the fact that there might be some hidden potential there? Do you like this trade? And I guess my view is, we know where we stand on our GMs around this town, but this is Troy Vincent making deals, trying to make the team better. Did he make this team better?
It's a lot is to be determined. I don't hate this trade at first glance of it and kind of digging into it a little bit. My thing is, I don't think the Pistons are going to miss Saddiq Bey. I think he was someone who became overvalued. He was someone whose shot never really improved. His consistency never really improved. I mean, this last month was kind of a microcosm of Saddiq Bey. And that big win, one of the most impressive wins they had over the season against Minnesota, he went off for 31, 10 of 16 from the floor, 4 of 6 from 3. But then in his last game with the Pistons was 1 of 6 from the floor and 1 of 4 from 3 for 7 points. He was just remarkably inconsistent. He was a traffic cone on defense, and he just never really got any better. And with James Wiseman, to me, what James Wiseman could bring you is like a Marvin Bagley with more upside. A guy who, like Terry said, is athletic, showed us some things as a rookie. He averaged about 11 and 6 on a little over 50% shooting with the Warriors. But yeah, he'd had some injuries. He fell out of the rotation this season. The Warriors just didn't really need him. With the Pistons, I think he's a guy that could contribute, as a guy who could be, you could see glimpses of why he was the second overall pick. My sort of thing is, I like the trade right now at face value, and it doesn't have as much to do with James Wiseman. It has more to do with the fact that I will not lose a wink of sleep over Saddiq Bey being gone. All Saddiq Bey was a guy who had flashes. He had some characteristics of what you think what a good player could be in the modern NBA. He was 6'8", a wing. He could get hot as fish grease from 3, but he never developed into a defender. He never could develop a consistent shot, and he just hasn't improved. He is basically a non-factor in the NBA. So I'm okay with the trade for now. We'll see how it plays out.
Now, one other thing, I think this reconfirms what I had said yesterday. The Pistons, the reason they weren't sellers is Troy Weaver thinks the roster they have now is good enough to win, good enough to make the playoffs. So he's playing for next season. He's playing and hoping and building and whatever that the Pistons are going to be a playoff team next year. Definitely not one this year, not even close. So he's taking a huge gamble, but that's why he's not selling.
Well, that's sort of what it got me to thinking, right? What we talked about yesterday. Are they sort of saying, hey, let's just see how this plays out with the bingo balls and what happens? But Spencer, my question to you, which I see a lot in the chat thread about you can only play one center at a time, obviously with the development of Jalen Duren, is there room for both Wiseman and Duren to be on this team and to develop?
I do think there is room, and you're looking at, they're already talking about starting James Wiseman next to, well, I hope it's next to Jalen Duren. They said they expect to start him, and there's no way Jalen Duren isn't on the starting lineup, so I'm assuming they're going to do an experiment of starting them together. But you look at Marvin Bagley and Isaiah Stewart, they're fours. They cannot play center. Neither of them can play center. They're not good enough. So now you have a legitimate backup center, which is something you need. You need more than one center on your team. So I'm fine with it, really. I think a lot of people overvalued Sadiq Bey and what he'd get in the trade market, and this is about the return I expected, another disgruntled former, high draft pick type of player. So I'm not mad at it at all. I'm not in love with it, but I'm not mad at it.
Here's the other thing that people forget. You can go big in the NBA. You can have a big lineup at times. You can have a small lineup at times. So because of the Pistons' guard play is so stellar, you can go small with Ivy and Cade Cunningham. But sometimes you might want to say, you know what? Let's pound the ball down somebody's throat. Let's rebound, defend, and see if we can win a game that way. So I think they're showing a little versatility. I have no problem with four guys who could play center.
So are we under the impression that maybe, and I see it also in the chat, Brandon Katz has brought it up, other people have brought it up, about is James Wiseman maybe a product of coming out of college too soon? Development-wise into the proper system, right? I believe you can come out at a younger age if you're put into the proper system, have the proper leadership.
Or how about this? If you come out early, play some college games. He only played like 2 or 3 college games. Yeah. He barely played in Memphis and then came out.
So there is a lot of potential. So you guys buy in when you hear Troy Weaver's had a shine on this guy before, and I look at this as only a positive with where the Pistons are right now. Did it hurt? Is it gonna hurt their draft position? No. Are they gonna fall? Are we worried about falling out of the number 4 spot at the worst to get a bingo ball? No. So I look at this as it goes into seeing to exactly what Terry said yesterday. They might be in the process of waiting, the wait and see game.
Yeah.
So it's good to hear because you haven't lost the faith, it sounds like here, and in the chapter, I haven't lost the faith in Troy Weaver moving forward, and that's, I think, is a positive. One of the best positive things we said about the Pistons of late, have we not?
Yeah, Troy Weaver still believes in this roster. That's why he made a move like this. It's not for this year. It's for next year.
Well, you said that yesterday. Didn't you say it's not the 2022-23 season? It's the 2022-24 season?
22-24 season. That's what it is.
2 seasons into it. Speaking of seasons.
And it's a 164-game schedule. I got that right.
You did. You got it right yesterday, too. Took a little bit longer than it did today.